Hey, what's up? I finally made it here to Cedar Point, which is my personal favorite amusement park and a lot of people's favorite amusement park. It's about 5 till 3. I just got parked, getting ready to go into the park. I actually got really lucky with parking. I basically drove into the parking lot. It's pretty much full, which tells me it is going to be a very busy day, so I am super happy that I have fast lane, because I have about 7 hours, which without fast lane is probably not enough time to do all the things I want to do, but because I have fast lane, I should be able to do everything. I pretty much just got to the parking lot, drove all the way up to the front, because I like to try my luck, especially if it's this late in the day. This is a good tip. If you're coming to a park and it's like the middle of the afternoon, you might as well try to get parking close to the front, because a lot of times you can find it. I'm actually in the row, I think literally the next row, right behind the handicap and the preferred parking, and I actually got a spot pretty close to the entrance, which is a little bit surprising, but pretty good that worked out for me. I'm gonna go ahead and head into the park. Just to give you an idea of where I parked, I just got out of my car, and the entrance is right there. So I definitely recommend looking for parking at the front if you get here this late in the afternoon. Coming up on the entrance plaza, which is over here, and I just think it's funny how there's these, I guess, seagulls on this dinosaur, which is kind of funny to me. Here's the, the entrance plaza. You got gatekeeper going over the front gate. This is actually the first time I've entered the park this way, because last time I was here with family. We stayed at Hotel Breakers, which you can enter from the hotel area of the park. You don't have to actually go through the front entrance. So this is actually the first time I've seen it in person. Looks really good. I think I'll do like this one actually better than the Carowinds entrance, just because of the way the gatekeeper is literally supported by these columns that are part of the front gate. So I really hope that Cedar Fair does more entrances like this in the future with their other parks. I know that they have hinted and said that they want to. But yeah, it looks really great. I'm about to head on in. Just walked in the front gate. One thing I noticed right off the bat is this bus. Looks like it's for Haunt. It's got Zombie High School painted on it. So it looks like they have all their getting their Haunt stuff all ready to go, just like they were at Carowinds yesterday. We got Hurricane Hannah's. We got the carousel, Ocean Motion, which looks to be a swinging ship ride. Yeah, I need to go get my fast lane processed. Looks like this one's closed, but I already bought mine, so I don't know why. I mean, I should be able to get it somewhere. So I'm glad I bought it online, because they are sold out. But yeah, I'm gonna get going here at Cedar Point. So something that is good to know that I just learned now is if you buy your fast lane online, you do actually have to get it before you enter the gate at the ticket window, which wasn't really a problem because I was right by the entrance, so I just got a hand stamp, went ahead, went out, got it, came back in. I think I'm gonna just basically just go in a loop around the park. Start with gatekeeper over here. I'm gonna check out the work that they've done over here on this midway, since I know they moved some stuff around. So we'll see what that looks like when we get over there. I just got off gatekeeper. I did it once in the left side, the far left side, in the back. I'll probably come back and do it again later in the front. But fast lane was at about 15 minutes. I think it actually took less time than that, but that's what it said on the wait time clock, is 15 minutes. Looks like there's going to be a hot maze back there. It's pretty good. I'm a fan of Gatekeeper personally. I'm a fan of the wing coaster. This is the only wing coaster I've actually been on, so I don't really know how it compares to the other ones. But it's definitely, you know, it's not as intense as like, you know, like some of the P&M inverse and stuff like that. Mainly just because it can't go through the all the elements as quickly, like all the inversions as quickly. That being said, it's still a good ride experience. A lot of people complain about the vests. Personally, the vests don't bother me too much. I understand why people complain about the vests. They are the locking vests, so they actually do lock in place once they sit over you. And it does kind of hit against my collarbones a little bit. But overall, it wasn't that bad in terms of comfort. I mean, you know, I almost prefer that to headbanging. I know I do on Banshee for sure. I'm just gonna walk over here by Wicked Twister. To be honest, I don't remember the Midway entirely from how it was before, since I've only been here once and didn't spend a whole lot of time on this Midway. But I know they moved these bumper cars over here, and so what I remember before is that you could really kind of go on either side of Max Air and come down this way, and now you can't really do that. You can really only come on this side because of where the bumper cars are, which kind of pushes you this way to kind of come on this side. And then when you get over here to Wicked Twister, instead of kind of coming to Wicked Twister from this way, you have to kind of come this way instead. And I believe I'll get over there in a second, but I believe the Tiki Twirl got moved. I think that's what it's called, at least. I'll probably skip Wicked Twister for now. I'm definitely going to come do it later because I like these rides. I think I probably like Possessed at Dorney a little bit better than those models, even though it is smaller, just because it has the holding brake at the top. It goes straight up the back spike instead of twisting up. And it has the little holding brake at the top, which is pretty cool. But I do like these rides. I think they're fun. I got the Ferris wheel here. Yeah, so it's definitely more like, because of where they put the bumper cars, it's definitely more boxed in over here. I'm going to go through this way and kind of see the other side of the Midway and see what it looks like from over here. But I think it's just the way, I don't really know why they did it. Maybe they're trying to open up some space somewhere for something. There's a rumor that I've heard is that maybe this theater back over there behind the trees where they do, I think, the stunt show, that might be possibly coming out, and then they could open up this space over here for another ride. But yeah, so this whole space is open over here, so you can kind of come this way by Max Air, or you can go back there and do Wicked Twister. And I guess it kind of flows a little bit better going this way, because I remember before there was a lot of stuff kind of over here and it was a little bit narrow over here. But now it's narrow over there, so I don't really know which one's better, which one I prefer. Yeah, here's the Tiki Twirl, which looks good in this spot. Kind of up against Wicked Twister and the Ferris wheel. The colors kind of go pretty well. And you got Planet Snoopy over here, which we're not going to go through. I'm going to keep walking this way towards some of the other rides. And yeah, I'll check in a little bit later. This is the Lakeside Pavilion, which is new. We got some seating over there. Yeah, they use this for private events and things. I know they use it for the barbecue and brew. Looks pretty nice. It's a nice location right on the lake. And I got the Windseeker here. Yeah, I'm going to continue walking this way. Yeah, this whole area definitely does seem more open than it was last time I was here. And I do feel like if they took out this theater, they would definitely have room to put something. knowing how Cedar Point kind of stages their coasters and kind of puts their coasters in the park, it seems like they'd find some kind of creative way to use this. I mean, maybe they could have it go a little bit out onto the beach, maybe kind of around back there. I'm not really sure, but they can maybe, you know, they can maybe fit a small coaster here. Yeah. Coming up on the Corkscrew Midway, came from over there. You have to go through just a little section of Camp Snoopy. There's one of the Skyride stations, which Skyride doesn't actually go very far. It goes from the front of the park, which is really not very far, to right here. Raptor's over there. I'm gonna come back and do Raptor when I come back around the other side of the park. But for now, I'm gonna continue going this way. So we got Corkscrew, which is the iconic Arrow Looper, the first one to have 3 inversions on it. And of course it goes, you know, the corkscrews go over the midway, which is really cool. So yeah, I personally don't mind this ride. It's not like anything special anymore. I mean, it's historical, which is cool. It's not really anything special, but it's definitely not bad. So, you know, it's a ride that I'll still definitely ride. I'll probably wait till a little bit later to do it. But definitely an iconic ride here. Definitely something you should do if you've never been here. Back there we have Iron Dragon, kind of where it dips down over the water. And in the background you can see Rougarou and the Top Floor Dragster Station and the Power Tower and Dragster's Hill in the background. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on walking this way. Probably get on something pretty soon. Not sure exactly what I'm gonna get on, but I'm gonna get on something soon. And I'll check back in a little bit. Well, I was about to get in line for Top Floor Dragster while I'm over here, but it looks to be stuck. It tends to break down a lot. I'm sure it'll be back up pretty shortly. So I'll definitely come back and do it. I'm kind of used to King Ka nowadays because Great Adventure is my home park, and I definitely want to get another chance to do it because I want to compare them. In my mind, this ride is better, even though it's a little shorter and marginally slower. It's definitely themed better. I like the trains on it. I like the lap bars. I think that's probably the best part, is that it's lap bars instead of the over the shoulder. And yeah, so kind of a shame that it's down right now, especially for these people, because I got to sit on the train. But I'll definitely come back and do it later and share my thoughts on how it compares. Here's the Corkscrew Station, which looks kind of cool. Some of these older coasters have some kind of retro looking stations, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to head towards Magnum. I think that's what I'm going to do next. Check it in a little bit. So I came over here to Magnum to get on Magnum. Apparently it's down right now too. I actually saw from the other side of the park. I saw it stuck on the top of the lift. Well, kind of in the middle of the lift. But I figured maybe by the time I got over here that it would be open again. So it's looking like I should have gone. Oh yeah, see, there it is. It's up there stuck. It's looking like I should have gone maybe the other way around the park. But, you know, it's fine. I got fast lane. Should have plenty of time to do stuff. So I'm going to keep on going this way. Coming up on the Gemini Midway. which was new for last year, redone last year. Gemini is racing today. I think last time I was here, it actually wasn't racing. They were only running one side. So I'm definitely going to catch a ride on Gemini. Yeah, the midway looks nice. We got the Pipe Scream, which is the debatable whether or not it's technically a roller coaster disco with the little hill in the middle of it. I guess it's not a disco. It's got the longer car that spins rather than a circle, but it's the Pipe Scream. Personally, I wouldn't count it as a coaster, but I know some people do. We got this kind of spider ride. It's called the Monster. You got the Flyers. Here they're themed to Eagles. Got the giant Snoopy. You can see the slingshot in the background, which I've actually done that slingshot. It's the first slingshot I did. It was pretty cool. I liked it. Definitely the kind of thing that you should do once. Probably wouldn't want to do it more than once just because it costs so much to do. But I liked it.
Ready?
But yeah, I'm definitely going to catch a ride on Gemini. Since it is running and it is racing. I'll check in a little bit later. I just got off of Gemini, which has this really cool retro station and really cool retro trains that I like a lot. They look pretty cool. You know, this is one of the first steel coasters, and it was like the biggest and tallest and fastest at the time it was built, or at least I'm pretty sure. And it's still a whole lot of fun. I rode the back seat on the blue train, and I rode in the front seat on the red train. I definitely like the front seat a lot better. You actually get really good airtime in the front seat, like even like ejector air at some points. You get it pretty good in the back, but it's definitely better in the front. It's also a lot smoother in the front. The back's a little bit rough. It's not too bad, but it's definitely, you know, it's an old ride. It's an old Aero, but it's not too bad. But I actually liked it a lot. Had a lot of fun on it. While I was on the ride, I noticed that Magnum is now running again. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to Magnum and do that before kind of continuing around. Here's the big Snoopy. You can see him better now. And there's a Camp Snoopy entrance over here, which is like another kids area. So they have Planet Snoopy, but they also have Camp Snoopy. And there's like a little mine train coaster back there, a little kiddie mine train coaster. And some other stuff. I'm not going to really go back there today. But yeah, Gemini's still a really great ride. Personally, I don't count it as 2 credits. I know a lot of people that do count racers as 2 credits. I count some racers as 2 credits. I count like the GCIs or you know, like the more like the dueling coasters. I count those as 2 credits because they are a little bit different. But on this one, both sides are exactly the same. I didn't really have a preference to one side or the other. Other than that, I liked the front on the red train, which means that the front's probably better on the blue train. But yeah, still a really great ride. Another thing that's cool about this, over like some of the wooden racers, I mean, obviously it has the wood structure and the steel track, so technically it's a hybrid coaster. There's not any kind of fence or divider between the 2 tracks like there are on like some of the wooden racers. So you can actually, like, I don't necessarily advise or suggest that you do this, but some people were doing it on the train. You can actually reach across and like high five the person in the other train. So I think the racing aspect on this one's actually a little bit better than like the wooden racers because you're so much closer to the other train and you can see it a lot better because there's no divider. And there's a lot more interaction between the people on both trains. And like I said last time I was here, last time I rode it, the first time I was at Cedar Point, they weren't racing it. There was only one side running. And so I'm really happy I finally got to do it with both sides because it's definitely a lot better when you do it with the racing aspect of it. But yeah, I'm going to go back over to Magnum and go do that since it's open again. I'll check in after I get off. So I just tried to get on Magnum again. and it's actually still closed. I went up to talk to the ride-out that was waiting at the front of the entrance, and she said that they literally ran 2 trains and then it closed again. But since I'm already walking back this way, I noticed Dragster's open again, so I'm gonna go do that. I just got off Top Thrill Dragster. Definitely a really great ride. Never done it before. Basically, it's a really awesome launch. Was the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the world when it got built. Now King Caw is pretty much the same ride. It's just a little bit taller and just a little bit faster, and it has an airtime hill at the end. Personally, I like this one better for almost every reason. The launches are about the same. It is noticeably faster on King Caw than on this one. But I like the theming of this. I like how it's themed to drag racers. I like where it is in the park. It's in the middle of the park, so you can pretty much see it from everywhere in the park. It has these kind of seats where you can watch people go and cycle. The line is actually in the middle of the layout of the ride. So you can actually see the ride really well from the line, and you can see the trains launch really well. It has the lights both there and on the towers that go every time it launches. It's got the little audio, make it sound like a drag racer. And it's definitely a lot smoother than King Caw. And it has lap bars instead of over-the-shoulder restraints, which are definitely a lot better. So yeah, definitely, in my opinion, definitely a lot better than King Caw. Also, another thing I like about Top Thrill Dragster is it doesn't have the hill. The hill on King Caw, like it's good, I guess. The second hill, the airtime hill it has, but it pretty much, you start hitting the brakes as soon as you hit the hill, so the airtime isn't really that great, and it definitely slows the ride down a lot sooner. Whereas on this one, you basically just have a flat piece of track before you hit the brakes, where you're still going really, really fast. So I actually think I like that better than having the hill there. With Fast Lane Plus, it took about 45 minutes actually to get through. And so I think the regular line is probably at least twice that. Definitely a busy day. Definitely glad I bought the Fast Lane. Probably won't get a chance to do it again today just because it took so long. But that's okay, because there's plenty of other great rides here. But yeah, Top Thrill Dragster. Fortunately, Magnum is still down, so you got some maintenance guys back there doing something. A second ago, they cycled an empty train. Excuse me. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Hopefully it opens again later. For now, I'm gonna stop trying and continue on to the rest of the park, now that I finally got off Top Thrill Dragster and everything. But I'll definitely be back later. Hopefully it will reopen, as this is one of my favorite rides here. I'm back here in the western themed area of the park. I forget off the top of my head what this area is called, which I should know, but I can't remember right now. Back here is the Cedar Creek Mine Ride. It's a mine train coaster. I haven't actually done this one. Last time I was here, I didn't take the time to do it. So I'll probably do it today. I'm not going to do it right now, but I will definitely try to do it today to get the credit. I'm going to go do Mean Streak, and then I'm going to go do Maverick. Definitely excited about Maverick with the new restraints, seeing how that goes. Yeah, I'll check in a little bit. I just got off Mean Streak. I rode it in the front. It's a walk-on with fast lane, but surprisingly, the regular line is at an hour, at least according to the clock. Last time I was here, it was pretty much a walk-on all day. It's, you know, I don't hate it. It is definitely pretty rough, even towards the front of the train. There's not really a whole lot of airtime. It's trimmed in a lot of spots. Particularly the first drop trim hits pretty hard. So you don't really get like a whole bunch of speed. There are a couple spots where you do go a little bit faster. But all in all, you know, it's okay. I probably liked it a little bit less this time than I was here, actually. It maybe felt a little bit more rough, which was actually surprising to me because I think I heard somebody say something about it having had a little bit of work done on it recently, but maybe not. I don't know. I could definitely see them doing something with this. I hope they do. I wouldn't want them to tear it down because it's actually a really beautiful ride, and actually it looks really cool and has kind of a cool layout. It's just unfortunately doesn't ride very well anymore. Not very smooth. It's pretty rough. Not super fast. Not really any airtime, but I don't know. I hope they, personally, I hope they do the Iron Horse treatment to it. I think it'd be a really awesome ride for that. Just because it's so big. It would definitely give them a lot of room to do some stuff. You know, it's pretty much, it's a very similar layout to the Texas Giant, which I actually liked the Texas Giant, even when it was wood, better than this ride. It's a little bit smaller. It didn't have the trim on the first drop, so it was definitely faster. It was definitely a lot more exciting than this one is. But seeing what they did, you know, knowing what they did with the Texas Giant, I feel like they could probably do even a lot more here. Now that they've done quite a few Iron Horses and they've done a lot of different things since they've done the new Texas Giant, I think Mean Streak probably has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best, Iron Horse treatments if Cedar Fair actually decides to start contracting them for stuff. I heard recently that in a press release, Matt Ouimet said something about Cedar Fair making it a priority to restore some of their wooden coasters that don't ride super well anymore. And he did actually name drop GCI and Rocky Mountain. He said, you know, they're looking at different people to do it, and you know, definitely including Rocky Mountain and GCI. When that will start, I don't know. What parks it will start at, which specific coasters it will start at, I don't know. But given, you know, Cedar Point's history of like, since it is the flagship park and there is, you know, they like to do things big here, I wouldn't be surprised if Mean Streak is one of the first, if not the first rides that gets that treatment. Whether it's Rocky Mountain or GCI, and whether it's like a topper track kind of thing, or whether it's actually a full-blown Iron Horse kind of thing, I really wouldn't be surprised to see it in the not-too-distant future. Again, I think it would definitely be welcome. I think not a whole lot of people like Mean Streak, but apparently some people do because, as I said earlier, the wait was at an hour. I'm gonna go do Maverick, which I'm super excited about. I will definitely see when I get off. I was about to get in line for Maverick. Looks like the fast lane's at about 30 minutes, so I decided to just go ahead and get some food because I'm pretty hungry. I tried to go to the Chick-fil-A and then I realized it was Sunday and it was closed. So I came over here and I actually found this, the Gatos Cafe, which has like, you know, Mexican food. It's got like tacos and nachos and burritos and stuff. and it's actually pretty cool. I found one of the booths actually has walking tacos, which if you don't know what a walking taco is, it's this. Basically, it's all the fixings of a taco, like meat, cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and sour cream. Which I'm not a huge fan of sour cream. I wish I would have known that it came with that. I would have told them not to do it. And it's basically in a Doritos bag. It's got Doritos in there, and they give you a fork, and you just you can eat it while you walk. So I'm going to eat it in line for Maverick, and kill two birds with one stone, since it is such a long line. I also got a blue Powerade, which is in my pocket because I have big short pockets, so I can actually fit it in there. So I can actually take both in line and definitely, you know, take advantage of the time that I have in line to eat this and to drink my Powerade. Yeah, I'll see you when I get off Maverick. I just got off of Maverick. The ride's really great. I definitely like it much better with the soft restraints. Last time I was here, when I rode it, I really liked it, but I just got so much headbanging that it definitely was a distraction, and I didn't enjoy it as much until I figured out how to use those restraints where you can press against them and not headbang as much. But I don't want to have to do that to enjoy a ride, and I don't want to have to learn how to ride it to be able to enjoy the ride. So definitely, by far, much better this time. It'll probably move up. It's already in my top 5, but it may even like move up a spot or two, depending on how some other things turn out. And yeah, I hope to get another chance to do it. It took me like probably longer than 30 minutes in fast lane. I think the regular queue is at like an hour and a half, and I was starting to get pretty upset because I was in the station, I was waiting for the next train to come in, and the ride ops were just absolutely incredibly slow. They were just not even, I mean, 2 trains sat in the station with the harnesses open without the gates open for probably at least a full minute. They had all 6 trains stacked, which they did twice. One of the times they left the train stacked for about 3 minutes or so. And that, you know, in my mind, that's absolutely unacceptable. Like, when your line is an hour and a half long for your ride, and it's one of the best rides in the park, you can't be stacking trains like that. You just can't do it. Like, it's inexcusable. And, yeah, so that really upset me, because from the time I got in the station, and I really only had, like, a cycle or 2 left before I was supposed to get on, it probably took me another 15 minutes before I actually got on. And then once I got on the train, I sat on the train before they dispatched it for the longest time. They did visual scan, all that, and then the ride operators were like confused about whether or not they were supposed to rotate. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are you worried about rotating right now? Get your trains out of the station. It just made me really upset, especially at Cedar Point, where last time I was here, the operations were really good on all the rides. I'm pretty sure they used to have like about twice as many seat checkers as they do now. They only had 2 for each train. And, you know, it's really just kind of unacceptable. I hope some of the other rides aren't like that. So far, like, they've been definitely slower than I expected them to be, because last time I was here, like I said, they were really good. But they haven't been too bad for the most part, but Mavericks were definitely really, really bad. I don't know why. Hopefully it gets better. It's going through the Frontier Trail. I'm on my way to Millennium Force, which hopefully the line won't be quite as long as it was on Maverick, and hopefully the operations won't be as bad. I mean, it's a better capacity ride, so hopefully, you know, hopefully I'll be able to get through that more quickly, because I also need to get to Rougarou. I also need to get to Raptor. Then I have a couple other things that I'm having to skip along the way, because it's actually taking me a while to get through, that hopefully I can go back and do. And I would definitely like to be able to get some of those rides before it gets too dark. But yeah, this is the Frontier Trail. They got some animals over here. They got some other stuff. I think there's like a glass blower somewhere. You know, it's like a Western themed area. But I'm gonna go ride Millennium Force. I will see you when I get off. While I'm making my way to Millennium Force, I did think of something else I wanted to mention about Maverick. You know, this year they added, and I touched on this a little bit, but in case you aren't sure what I'm talking about, this year they added the soft restraints to Maverick, like the ones they have on Intimidator 305, which are basically, they have the same kind of bar that goes around your lap, but instead of the solid, the more solid over the shoulder piece that kind of sticks out, that everybody hits their head on and their ears on and their necks on, especially with the ridiculous, awesome, fast transitions that they have on the ride. They took those off and they put on basically a soft straps that go over your shoulders, and they kind of sit there loosely. They don't really like tighten down on you. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings about these. Some people really like them, other people don't like them, other people don't like them as much. And the other people that don't like them as much, the reason why they don't like them is they complain that it cuts down on the airtime. They think that they cut down on the airtime, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think they cut down on the airtime at all, because they don't even touch your shoulders. You don't get any less airtime than you would, because the bar is in exactly the same place. So I don't understand why people think that they cut down on airtime, because I really thought that, you know, the airtime was just as good as it ever was. So I just wanted to mention that. I'm about to Millennium Force, so I'm gonna go check that out. On my way to Millennium Force, I decided to stop because I saw the saloon, and there they have the Ruger Brew, which is the park's beer that they have made for them for the opening year of Rougarou. Cedar Fair's been doing this at a couple parks where they have like beers that are themed to certain rides, or a lot of times it's ice cream. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, I thought it was on draft, but it's not. It's just in a bottle, which is fine. The bottle said it was a Munich-style lager. And yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's like a lager. It's a little bit better. But yeah, so that's the Ruger Brew. There's Rougarou right there. Which, the ride looks good. I really like the new paint. I like the way the trains look. The lime green is pretty cool. Obviously I haven't ridden it yet. And I will in a little bit. I think I'm going to go ahead and ride Millennium Force first. But the ride definitely looks really nice. I like the paint. I like the trains. And it looks like they got a whole new queue for it. They actually added a lot to the queue, which they probably needed this year since it just opened. But yeah, I'll definitely get my comments to you about that after a while. But for now, I'm gonna go ride Millennium Force. I just got off Millennium Force. It is substantially darker outside right now. Unfortunately, it did take quite a while to get through the line, even with the fast lane. The operations were okay, but they definitely weren't as fast as they've been before. The ride's still really good. I still really like it a lot. However, it's definitely not as good, in my opinion, as I thought it was. Last year I rode it for the first time. It was my first Giga coaster. It was also one of my first Intamins. So back then, I had a much higher opinion of it than I do now. After having ridden a lot more stuff, it's definitely not, you know, it's still really great. I think the best thing about the ride is by far the speed. But really, it almost kind of ends there for me. I mean, it's not nearly as forceful as like the other Intamins or even like Fury 325. You know, it's just really not. There's no like none of the fast transitions that you get on like a Maverick or an i305. The airtime's really not that good. I mean, it's good, but it's like it's a more like B&M airtime, really. It's not really ejector airtime like you get on Skyrush or i305 or El Toro or anything like that. So, you know, I may be sounding a little bit harsh on the ride. The ride's still a really great ride. I still love it a lot. Don't get me wrong. But definitely, you know, if you're a more experienced rider and you've ridden some of the other Intamins, you know, this one's not. It's just not as good as it used to be. I mean, it's not that the ride's not any better than it used to be. I think they actually got new trains, which a lot of people are saying are better. I didn't notice a whole lot of a difference. If anything, the ride's maybe a little bit smoother than it was last year. And it's still really, really fast. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still got really great speed. Like I said, that's probably the best part about the ride. I personally, I'll still put this one above Bizarro. When I first rode Bizarro, I thought it was crazy that anybody would put it above Millennium Force. But now being a more experienced rider and coming back to ride Millennium Force again, I can understand why people would put Bizarro above Millennium Force. But to be quite honest, I haven't gotten a whole lot of really spectacular rides on Bizarro. The airtime on Bizarro is definitely more intense. The layout's maybe a little bit more interesting, but the drop isn't nearly as good on Bizarro. This drop's pretty good. It's still not as good as, like, in my opinion, the other Giga coasters I've been on, which is a little bit of a surprise to me. You know, like I said, I still really love the ride, but I definitely thought I was gonna like it more than I did. I rode in the back seat.
Hey, what's up?
I rode in the back seat. I've only gotten to ride it once. Maybe later I'll get to ride it in the front seat, but at this point it's not looking like I'm going to get to do a whole lot of re-rides because it is about an hour and a half till close. I still have 3 more big coasters that I want to do, which is Rougarou, which I'm about to do, Raptor, and Magnum, which I didn't get to earlier, so hopefully it's open. But yeah, I'll definitely continue to share my thoughts, even if I can't get super good video in the dark. I just got off of Rougarou. It's the first time I've ridden it. I did ride it when it was Mantis. For those of you who don't know, Rougarou used to be Mantis. It used to be a B&M stand-up coaster, and now they put some floorless trains on it, repainted it, and called it a new ride. It's essentially the same ride, but instead it's floorless instead of stand-up. I sat in the second row, which wasn't really my choice. They did have a grouper who did assign me a seat. I wasn't really super adamant about sitting in any particular seat on the ride. It was, you know, the front seat. I don't know which seat would honestly be better on this ride. If the front seat or the back seat would be better. I sat in row 2, like I said, which is pretty much the front seat. So you probably get a pretty much the same ride in the front seat as I got. Honestly, I liked it. I definitely liked it better than Mantis. I didn't absolutely hate Mantis. I didn't particularly like it. I mean, I liked it enough to where I would ride it. But I'm also just not a huge fan of stand-up coasters in general. But what I will say is, in the second row, and probably I would imagine in the front seat too, I did not really get any headbanging whatsoever until the second half of the ride, which really surprised me. Because on Mantis, I always bang my head on pretty much every element. And maybe that's because I probably would have sat in the back on Mantis just because I tend to go straight to the back seat on almost any ride that I ride. I tend to go straight to the back seat. So had I ridden in the back of this, I may have a different opinion. It's definitely very forceful. Mantis was very forceful. This is still really, really forceful to an almost uncomfortable level at some points. It's definitely not as uncomfortable as it was whenever it was a stand-up, because before it would really hurt your legs to be standing up, experiencing those forces, and now you're sitting down, so it's really not as bad. But overall, I would definitely say that the floorless train makes the ride, to me, a lot better, because now, instead of being distracted by the fact that I'm standing up with a bicycle seat basically in my crotch and banging my head all the time, now I'm actually able to kind of take in the ride and take in the elements and appreciate the ride itself, because it is, you know, essentially it is an older B&M, so it is actually a lot more forceful than like most of the other floorless coasters I've been on. It's definitely not the worst floorless coaster I've been on. It's probably not the best. Actually, no, for sure it's definitely not the best. But like I said, it's not the worst. It's a lot more forceful than a lot of the other ones. I think the first half of the ride probably would have been better in the back seat, but I have a feeling if I was in the back seat that I would have banged my head a lot more, and that the back of the ride would have been a lot less pleasant. The back of the ride is really where most of the positive G's are, even to the point in the back half of the ride to where it's a little bit uncomfortable on your legs. It's kind of like whenever you're on an invert, like one of the really intense inverts that has a whole lot of positive G-forces. It's like that, but it's almost a little bit worse for some reason. And I think it's just the way the ride's designed. Just because the back half is so much tighter proportional to the front half and so much lower to the ground, to where it's just a lot of G's. So really, honestly, like, I liked it. I liked it okay. I definitely liked it better than Mantis. Which to me is a pleasant surprise, because I actually liked it a lot more than I expected to. I'm going to go ride Raptor, and I'm going to go try to ride Magnum, assuming it's open. I've got just about an hour left of time. Maybe a little bit more, maybe like an hour and 15 minutes at this point. Rougarou didn't take very long to get on with with the fast lane, just because it's a B&M, it eats people. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ride Raptor, which is one of my favorite inverts. Now I'll be able to definitely have a better comparison point for it, considering I rode Afterburn yesterday and I rode Alpengeist on Friday. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I'll definitely check in later and share my thoughts. So I'm walking towards the front of the park to ride Raptor, and I finally found the wall, which I'm pretty sure this is where they had the coaster wall stuff originally when they were hyping up the announcement. That didn't actually end up happening. It still hasn't happened. I'm here on the Sunday before Labor Day. The announcement is going to be this week. It's going to be on the 9th. But we pretty much know we're getting a dive coaster because we've already seen the track. It's already been coming here. But this is where it's going to be. It's going to be back here. This is pretty much at the front of the park. You got the coasters driving. You got Rougarou's back there. Millennium Force is a little bit further back there. And Raptor's up here. And you got some Midway stuff. And Blue Streak's kind of back there too. So, yeah, this is where it's going to be. It looks like a pretty big space. I can't really see over the wall. I'm excited for it. I know a lot of people are kind of upset about it for whatever reason, but maybe they've never ridden a dive coaster, because personally, like, I love dive coasters. I think Griffin's really awesome, and this ride could only be as good, but probably will be better. So personally, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see the announcement. So I'm super upset because Raptor is down right now. Still got about an hour till the park closes. So there's definitely a chance that I can ride it before the end of the night. Because as I've talked about before, the last hour is the best hour to be in a park, because you can get a lot done. So I still have a couple things I need to do. I still need to shop, which I really want to do, because honestly, I don't have any Cedar Point merchandise, which is kind of disappointing, considering how much I love this park. So I got some shirts I need to buy, some magnets, which hopefully they have some. I haven't seen a whole lot of magnets. Hopefully they have some. I saw some in one shop. So at the very least they've got a couple, but I don't know if they have them for every ride. So at this point, I'm basically going to walk at a pretty brisk pace. Try to go do Magnum since I haven't done it at all today. And then I'm going to try to go do Maverick. And the plan was that I was going to buy a Maverick shirt. The plan was that I was going to do this. I was going to go do Magnum, and then I was going to go back and re-ride Maverick. And then I was going to buy my Maverick merchandise, then buy, you know, basically walk back to the front of the park and buy all the merchandise and then leave. Looks like they are doing test runs. But you know what? I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to keep going and come back, and hopefully it'll be open later. And I can do it right before I leave. So at this point, I'll definitely talk about my day, like I have been for all my other days on this trip, and talk about some of the things that really kind of bugged me today, most of which are beyond my control. And obviously I'll talk about the rides a little bit more in detail, what I liked, what I don't like, and the park as a whole. But at this point, I got some work I got to get done. I still got to get Magnum, which I haven't gotten at all today. And then I got to do Maverick, and then I got to kind of hope that they have merchandise that I want at the front of the park. Because if I buy merchandise at Maverick, I probably won't be able to take it on Raptor because they probably have lockers. I'm not 100% sure that that one does, but I think it probably does. So I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to have to buy. They actually had some Maverick stuff up here. They had mostly Gatekeeper stuff, but I'm going to be upset if I don't get a Maverick shirt. So yeah, I'm going to head back towards Magnum and see if I can at least do that. Probably get another ride on Maverick, and then probably do Raptor, and then it'll probably be time to go. But yeah, I'll definitely check in a little bit later. I just got off of Magnum XL 200. Finally got a ride on it. Literally as soon as I got up, first I got to the entrance of it, and it was down, and then I was about to walk on and go to Maverick and do that again. And then I went by the fast lane. I saw them dispatch a train of people on it. I got in line, and I was able to ride it. I rode in the back, and I have to say, definitely one of the best rides I've ever had on Magnum. It's really good. It's got a lot of ejector air. It is an aero, so it is very much has a lot of strict angles on it. So it's definitely not quite as smooth as like a B&M or anything like that. But I would say it's more intense. It's definitely more intense than like your average B&M Hyper or anything like that. Yeah, I love Magnum. It's one of my favorite hyper coasters. Definitely for sure. I decided not to try to walk back to Maverick because I am short on time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Raptor, and hopefully it's open and ride on that. And then I'm going to see where I'm at on time. And there's one of two options I could do. I can either run back to Maverick and get in the line right before the park closes. Which if I do that, I may risk not being able to buy stuff. But probably will still get in line. The other option, and the thing is too with a lot of these shops, one thing that's good to know, I've talked a little bit about shopping before and how I like to do it, but a lot of times the shops towards the front of the park stay open until the guests leave the park. So even if the park closes, a lot of times the stores stay open because they want to make money. So you can usually still shop. So I may do that, and I may go ahead and risk it, but I also may just suck it up and do Raptor and see what time it is, run in, buy some stuff really quickly. I already kind of know what I want, and then run back. I may literally have to run back to Maverick and see if I can make it, I guess I'll probably just have to suck it up and put some stuff in a locker, which I've never done before because I don't like to do it. But if it means that I'll get to ride that ride, then in this case I may do it. I'm gonna go try to get on Raptor. I'll check in later and with what I decide to do. In about the last 30 minutes of the day, which I've talked about before, is definitely the most crucial time. So yeah, I'm gonna do the best I can. I just got off Raptor. I rode it in the back seat, the very back seat. At this point, it's 9:50. It is literally 10 minutes before Cedar Point is closing. I decided that I am going to go ahead and try for a ride on Maverick because I think that I can get there before 10. I should be able to walk fast enough to get there. It is on the other side of the park, so I will have to walk pretty fast. But basically, I'm going to show you why the last hour of the day is better than the first, and why the very last 10 minutes of the day is super crucial. On my way back, though, I'll go ahead and talk about Raptor. Raptor, I love Raptor. It's definitely really good. Definitely one of the better B&M inverts. I wouldn't call it the best. I think I still like Banshee better. But it's definitely really, really great. I rode it in the back seat. I don't know if I've ever ridden it in the front seat. I probably have, but I don't really recall. The back seat was really good. I have a feeling that the back seat's probably the better seat. I think the front could maybe just as easily be the better seat, but I really like the back. The back was fast in places that usually the front is fast, and in my experience, that usually means that the back seat is probably better, but I could be wrong. It's all a matter of opinion anyway. So, first drop turn's really good. I actually got airtime on it, just a little tiny bit in the back seat. The loop is very forceful. The 0G roll was really, really good. It took it really quickly. Worked pretty well in the back seat. Again, I actually got a little tiny pop of airtime coming off the back of it. The Cobra roll, and I normally don't like Cobra rolls, but this one's actually pretty good. It's taken very quickly, so you do kind of whip over the top on both sides. You get just a little bit of a headbang on, I think, one side, but not on the other. And then you go up and you do, I think you do a corkscrew. Maybe you don't. I think maybe actually, yeah, no, never mind. You just go straight up into the mid-course. The mid-course, this ride does have a mid-course, but the mid-course does not hit very hard at all, which is good. And after the mid-course, you have a really great drop turn, another drop turn. That's actually really forceful after that. And then you do the one of the corkscrews, or I guess you'd maybe call it a 0G roll. The back half, there's two different inversions that are kind of somewhere in between. I would call like a corkscrew and a 0G roll. Somewhere in between, maybe. I don't know. But you do one, and then you kind of go through this one section that is probably the weakest part of the ride for me, where you're just kind of going straight. You're not really going very fast. And then you kind of do a turn, and then you do the other 0G roll corkscrew kind of thing, which is good. It's fine. You do get a little bit, I think I have a headbang on that one, but it's not that bad. And then you do the helix, and the helix is really forceful. Definitely one of the better helixes. It's pretty tight, and that's good. And then you pretty much come up and turn and go into the brakes. And all in all, it's a really good ride from start to finish. Like I said, even with the mid-course, it's still pretty good. I have it second on my list of inverts. It's definitely one of the bigger ones. I think in terms of height and speed at this point, it's more like a medium-sized one, but with the length of it, it's definitely one of the longer layouts. I don't know necessarily that the length of it and the layout is utilized to its full potential, which I'll definitely talk about later. At this point, I'm making a mad dash to Maverick. I'm about halfway there. And my phone's about to die. But all in all, it's been a good day here. At this point, I can say that I got everything done that I wanted to do, at least the minimum level of that, which I've kind of talked about before, setting goals and realistic expectations. I definitely accomplished the minimum goal despite some setbacks, which were kind of beyond my control, with rides being broken down and whatnot. But yeah, overall, had a really great day. Cedar Point, it's definitely my favorite park.